screen and click screen 1 or desktop. I don't know how it appears on your computer.
How can I turn off the one appearing here?
Can you say that again? I didn't.
Yeah. Let me check here. How can I turn off the one I show here?
Press the same button.
The same button?
So like stop sharing. So the same button you click to share. Now just press stop sharing next to the microphone.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, quick question. So, back on our balance sheet, so the total assets would come down to 53,950.
That's what I had as well.
The number that we've got. Okay. So then we didn't have to erase the accounting statuses and the client bill, right?
Excuse me, Sandra, is it up here on the screen?
Yes, it is, Kia, now.
Yeah.
And what I have here, under the current asset, the beginning cash, 6,000 before, and then another cash we receive from client service, 7,500. Yeah, all the cash accounting service, 4,200, and account receivable from the beginning, 7,000. Account receivable from the customer, the rest from 8,200, so 4,000 I put here. And two supplies, one from the beginning, another supplies in the month of December. And repair rent, repair insurance keep the same from the beginning. So the total current asset I have this amount. And now,
sorry, Kian, where are you getting that 4,000 from?
4,000 from the account receivable customer we bill before the total. The first amount is 8,200, and then after that we get cash from them 4,200. So the amount rest from account receivable just only 4,000. I just minus direct from two transactions and get the amount. And totally.
Hold on. Why did you minus the 8,200 and 4,200? Are you making an assumption that?
Yeah, I'm making an assumption that the customer from the transaction first will bill 8,200. They pay us part of that amount, 4,200, so that the account receivable will still have 4,000 there to receive later.
But hold on. If you look, if I share my screen, then I'm going to take yours off. 1 second.
Yeah.
If you look into your assessment, so customer is billed on account for 8,200, and you've received. Oh, I understand the assumption that you've made. That is a logical assumption. So then in that case, okay. You're assuming that it's the same one. So you're saying you've sent a bill to one customer and they've paid you half of what they need to, pretty much. So they still owe you. So you're assuming that this is the same customer. That's the assumption that you're going with.
Because they said previous bill, so I just pick up that customer before we bill 8,200, and then we get 4,200 from them, and then account receivable we still have just left 4,000 more to get later. Sandra, have you seen my work document on the screen? No?
Your Word document, you mean your Excel document?
No, your Microsoft Word, not Excel.
No, I can only see your Excel sheet that you're sharing with us.
Because on the transaction in the month, under each transaction 4, 5, 6, I did the equation. Account receivable 8,200 in debit and account.
There is one that I disagree with you.
Yeah,
It's
because
supplies because you've added your supplies, both the 950 and 450.
yeah, supply first 950 from the beginning after.
Yeah. That one I agree with, but I don't think because they've paid for it, so it's an expense that they had. They got more supplies.
Yes, but China supply we got it belong to like our inventory,
Yeah, but how
like
it's
a kind of access we have. So that's why I put it in that current account.
but hold on. This one I would say goes under your liability still. Why? Because it says that the supplies were paid on account, which means you still need to pay for them.
Yeah. So a supply here for 150 is still here.
Yeah, but you're doing it as a double entry here. I don't think that it needs to go underneath your assets.
It is not double entry because we increase the asset. So asset we have this amount, we have inventory. So it's appear under the asset account. And then this is the liability we need to pay. So that is appear under the current liability we need. We got the supply already, but we haven't paid anything to them. So that is a kind of liability here.
So then we are on. So you're saying I would probably, I don't know. I think that it's overcomplicating it to add it on both of the accounts personally. So you're saying your total current assets is 33200 plus your 17,000 that we all agree on. You've got 50,200. Yep. Minus.
And then the difference is 14,000 for asset, liability plus equity.
Talk a little bit louder. I can't hear you now.
Yeah. So the total asset is 50,200. Total liability here and total equity here. So that the total of liability and equity here. And then the differentiation between this one and this one is 14,400. Yeah, I get this one asset minus this amount, so I get this difference.
Yeah, but it means it's not balancing.
Yeah, it's still not balancing, but at least I think it shows the liability at the moment we make balance sheet. That's all we have. It is pay our supplier later. And then the real asset we have at that moment is all I list there.
Talk a little bit louder. You're
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know the balance is not balancing. Yeah. But at least I can see from both asset and liability what I actually have at that moment. Asset I have.
I understand that, but a balance sheet, the main purpose is to get it to balance. So it means we either.
And then one more thing, Sandra, because here we haven't account for the net income tax.
That was done on the income statement. We don't need to be adding, because for that particular thing, when we did our income tax, we're not going to be paying tax on it because we are showing that we've made a loss. So we wouldn't need to starting the following month, we would just be in a minus. So, you know how we initially had our 6,000 cash that we started off with for this month, for the next month, it will be in a minus. Then from that minus, we need to sell and work to get to a zero before we start.
Yeah, it's so, Sandra. Don't be mind if I click back to my T account to show I calculate to you, my calculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, here. The cash first, at the beginning, I put the amount here 6,000. And then we receive 7,500. And then after that, we paid to creditor 600. All this amount in this side is the amount we reduce the cash. And then this side, we increase the cash. From here is the transaction number. That's what I put in. And then that's why I said to you, I got the total closing amount of cash, just this amount. This one we paid 600. This one we paid 4,700 in the transaction number 8. And then this one we paid for something that we open again, this one. Sorry. Yeah, this one we paid something for, let me check here, number 8. That is a salary. Salary 4,700 for salary. A utility 300 and 80.
I can understand how you did it, but that is fine for you, how you've done that. Now everyone else, I'm going to help you change your figures, and I don't expect you to do the T accounts and as much calculations as Kian's done. So Kian, you've done amazing, and I understand where you're coming from, but I think just for this particular thing, I don't expect the whole class to be doing that much detail, if that makes sense.
I understand, Sandra, but I just want to let you know that the account we put here for this is said about the supplies, we get it, but we haven't paid. So that means that it's a kind of liability. So I put it under liability 450. And then because we got already the supply, so I put it under the current asset. Here. Yeah.
Okay, so you're just trying to explain to me why you've done, yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
And if the balance sheet is not balanced, it's we just can explain something they do not like a good performance, not efficiencies.
Well, no, I'd be more inclined to keep it the initial way. So, you know, just when we looked at the account balances, the whole purpose.
But it's weird because now the total asset they have a lot, they have a less liability and less owner's equity. So what's wrong with them? All the money they earn, they just put to the asset. If so, it should be balanced.
So then the business would be a loss?
Because now they have a lot of them assets.
Look, they just might, we'll see it finally. So we've seen when we've done the income statement, they are making a loss. Now that we're doing a balance sheet, what are we seeing? We're seeing that their assets and what the business has is actually a lot higher. So it's the figure that we're disputing here. But what we are agreeing on is they do have a lot more assets as opposed to their liabilities and equity. So the last one is actually going to show us exactly where their money has gone and what they have to work with. At this stage, it is showing they probably need to sell some more of those assets or not prepay so much expenses in advance. Because that's what's kind of, they've had a lot of expenses and they've paid for a lot of things up front. So it might be that this particular business has too much stock on hand. They've prepaid too much of their bills. So maybe their final thing, but overall, we need to get this balance sheet to balance. So I'm just trying to think of other assumptions that we can do using these figures to decrease our current assets, because that is where we're getting.
Sandra, I think maybe we forgot or we lack information for the liability and equity, because if not, how can they access too much like that and then the liability and equity we have nothing.
Well, we're not forgetting any categories because they were all prepaid. This is where, in order to get it to balance, so this is the point that I was making before you showed your spreadsheet. Now, with everything that they've prepaid, that is going to decrease their cash amount.
Yes.
Therefore, we're going to decrease some of these assets. So this is what I meant, on the side somewhere or underneath, whatever you want on your balance sheet. We can change some of these figures and that'll be an explanation why we've changed it. So under the cash amount, for example, what we can decrease from that, because we've said our expenses have been paid, so they're not in our accounts payable or our liabilities, they're not included in our taxes, etc.
Sandra, sorry for interrupt. If you're saying about the cash, I can give you the amount immediately. The cash we spend, we prepare for everything is a total is a 5,930. That is what we pay for supply or for everything. And then the cash we receive here, we receive all these things. We have include the beginning amount, so we have a total 18,450. That is we have a total, and then we minus what we spend here, and then the rest we have in hand.
4,000, we're going to say, okay, 1 second, guys.
Sandra, one more thing, the 750, that amount is belong to the dividend were paid. So if we assume that we get the dividend in cash, so that it will appear in here. If not, I just delete it and then it changes the number. It will not add it the dividend in cash.
Why are we assuming it was paid in cash and not in shares or?
Yeah, I assume that in cash because from the beginning of the transaction they said had paid something. They didn't mention that is on share or anything. So that from previous, I just put the assumption that it's in cash. Like we paid office rent or we paid creditor, and then it said dividend were paid. That means I think someone paid to us so that we get it. in cash.
Where is 937,100? Let me just jump back in this one.
So I close my one or use your screen share.
Yeah, you can stop sharing your screen if you like. Now, my main point is to reduce. I want to see these accounts here. Actually, guys, let me ask you this question. Tomorrow morning, do you want me to finish this one off and then we move on to the last one to give the people that had questions a chance to be able to do that?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
And then I can get back to you guys. So all that I want you to see, if I share my screen, hold on. I'm agreeing with Kian on 90% of the stuff. And Kian, you've gone over and beyond. And I think that for some people, they're just probably sitting there going, oh my God, am I meant to be doing as much? I don't mind, doesn't look like that.
I know, Sandra. I spent whole day yesterday from right after finish your session, and then I keep sitting and searching the internet and calculating until the night I finished, and I send it back to you.
I know. I was literally putting my kids to bed and I still had my phone. I got your thing and I started going through your numbers and I was like, whoa, she has spent a very, very long time on this.
Such a good student.
So all I want to do, I know, amazing student. So all I want to do is work out a couple of days that we have paid and deduct those amounts. So I understand what you were showing me with your cash thing, but I want to take away some of those amounts that I told you to take out from your balance sheet in order to reduce our assets, because we still need to get the sheet to balance. So it's not just leaving it unbalanced. They wouldn't have given us a scenario that is not very well written in order for it not to balance. So yes, we can see we've made a loss. Now on top of it, if we're saying our balance sheet is not balancing, well, we're having an issue. This whole business is not done okay. So I think that you understand how the balance sheets need to be set up and how you need to have the categories. So now all I want to do, and I'll tell you tomorrow what numbers to add in order to reduce. And we'll make some notes tomorrow. That'll be like a final step that you're doing in your balance sheet. It will balance. I just have to work out to what degree I can play around with this and make the assumptions while sticking with only what we have. Does that make sense? Does that work for everyone? But I might leave it there for the class and just give everyone a chance that does want to catch up to ask me the questions that they need to. Does that work for everyone?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
For the people that want to...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, so for the people that do want to stay, but you've done it and you're up to date or whatever, but you do want to stay in the session, by all means. For the ones that don't, you can leave now, and I'll see you tomorrow 9 o'clock.
Can I ask some questions for task 1?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Have a good day, Alejandro.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Excuse me, Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
So the task 1, may I email you on this weekend?
You can email me, or what I would prefer, just because it's easier for you then to know what you have to fix up, to upload it.
I'll
But I'm
upload
not-
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not marking to, like, as in you've submitted, I'm marking it. No, I'm not going to mark it. I'm just going to go under each question and give you feedback. So then you'll get
Alright.
that email from ACAS and it'll say this is the feedback.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries
See
at
you
all.
tomorrow.
Thank you for today.
Okay, Sanya. I've got a question for question 3. So you know how we have to, what do we have to do? Explain the
Oh.
purpose and identify. I can't really explain much for covers.
What do you have so far for covers?
It's just looking at when the risk is shown. How are we going to control this and return back to normal?
That's pretty much the summary of it. Paula? So
But I
Debrina,
need
just
to
one
make-
second, because I think that Paula had the exact same question. You had the same question about 1.3, correct? There was a couple in there that you couldn't find and you weren't sure. Okay, so Debrina is asking that exact same thing as well.
Yeah.
So if I go under 1.3, just bear with me, guys.
So I have to explain to 30 to 50 words, or I can just write down like just that.
How many words do you have for that? Pretty much your whole answer should be close to that, but how you can summarize that further?
Yeah.
Just think how to reword that one. Actually, where was our covers one for this one? Another question for, I skipped it. All right, so covers. It's generally used when a risk has been exposed. So it's used for a short period of time to fix the risk or the current position.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the purpose is to reduce both risk and return back to normal. And I think if you do it that way, you should have your 30 to 50 words. So as long as you write something like that, that's more than enough to explain it.
Okay.
Paula, how can I summarize for you or help you with that? Was there anything else in task 1 that you guys had to ask? Debrina, was there any other questions?
Let me just double check. Have you checked all my answers for task 1?
I haven't. I'm so sorry. Aiming to get that done towards the end of the week, just because at the moment I've got classes available, have to be available for classes and students all through the day. So in the afternoon, in the evening, and even Fridays and Saturdays. So that is why I'm not just focusing on your class the way that I normally do. I've literally got about 50 students at the moment that I have to be available.
Yeah, I just needed to ask that one. And the labor thing. Same question. Yeah,
same question, but underneath labor.
Yeah.
So pretty much, yeah.
I just submitted task 1, so I will catch up with task 2 with you again tomorrow, because I just done like the double entry already. So what are we working on is balance sheets, right?
So what are we working on? Say the last part again.
What are we working today is balance sheet.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're gonna do it again tomorrow. We're gonna redo it again tomorrow, because
very quickly, because I want to move on to the last one. So just basically unfortunately, with the different feedback and everyone saying what they had to, it is taking
so
longer.
confused. Yeah.
Yes, so guys, some people have done like extensive details on their balance sheet and their income statements. I don't expect all of you guys to do that.
Mm-hmm.
My main thing is balance sheet has to balance.
Yeah.
So when we're doing that, and initially what I was saying this morning when I stopped and it was balancing at, what was it, 34,050. I would have stopped it there for the balance sheet because you're still meeting your assessment requirements and without overcomplicating it and going too far into accounts, because we need to understand financial information, accounting information, but we're not accountants. So that's not what I expect from you guys.
Okay.
Some people that have more experience in it and have done a lot more detail, perfect, but I don't expect that from you guys. So if you're confused on that aspect, you don't need to. What I can show you, let me share my screen very quickly.
Yep.
So, Paula, I saw you had a couple of messages. I haven't read them all. So for your task 2, in summary, 2.1, you've got a list of different transactions or the way that a business has done its bookkeeping. They've given to you all of the different, so this is what I was discussing. When a business has a transaction, it is recorded 2 times, once as a debit and once as a credit. So always the debit is on the left-hand side, the credit is on the right-hand side. Guys, when you get your pays from your work, if you check out your banking, it always appears on the credit. Whereas once you start paying your bills, etc., or transferring to different accounts, it goes under debit. So debit is always accounts being reduced or money coming out of a business, whereas a credit is all of the money going into a business. All you have to do for this, all of these ones, so you've got A, B, C, I think you've got 6 or 7, all the way to J, you need to just put these exact same ones into an Excel sheet. Now, if you want to set them out all on the one and just have, I think I had examples on my Excel, so just one second. If you want to add columns like this and just have transaction details and then write, for example, for A, you would do it here, your amounts here, and just do it all on the one transaction, one spreadsheet, you can. Otherwise,